Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles back again for another review. This time it's the Bandai Star Wars movie realization, Ronin, Jango Fett. And if you follow this line, you'll know that this is the third repaint of this particular Boba Fett mold. The artwork is pretty much the same, and you get the sort of gunslinger look there on the front, which that's how I'll pretty much have mine posed up. And on the back you get the usual pictures of the figure itself. Overall, it is pretty nice, but I have to say up front that I wasn't as impressed with the paint application as I was with Boba and the prototype Boba Fett figure, which is a little surprising considering the Boba Fett, the prototype figure, is pretty much an essentially white repaint, but I'll get to those points in a second. Accessories-wise, you get the same stuff that the other figures got, so you get the fairly nice backpack here. So I'll just give you a look at that. It is nicely painted and it's pretty much the same mold as you would expect. And there's the Boba Fett backpack there. So slight differences in the repaint. I would have actually thought this green here would suit Boba more, with some of the more blue suiting Jango Fett. So I might try swapping those out and seeing how they look on each other. And here is the prototype Boba Fett with the pretty much silver paint application there. So pretty much the same mold, and just slight variations on the paint there. The other accessories, if I just get these guys out the way, you get the short sword. I've been told this is not a katana. I can't remember the actual Japanese term, to be honest, but pretty much the same, with the greenish sheath here. You do get the two pistols, which are quite nice. Just be careful out of the box. One of mine actually had the, I don't know if that's called the flint or something. That actually was off the peg, and luckily I saw it on the carpet, so just make sure you don't lose that if it does come off. And overall the paint application and detailing is pretty nice for these little wood style pistols. It comes with the gauntlet arrow thing that you slot into his forearm, so that's nice as well. And then of course you get the whole slew of hands to hold the guns, the sword, etc. And again they're nicely painted in that blue and silver. So that's pretty much for the accessories, and I'll get onto the figure. Hold on. Alright, from a mold perspective, I can't see too many differences, apart from, of course, the lack of Wookiee braids and the swap out of the pouches on his belt here to these gunslinger pouches that you can put the guns through. I think you can push it down a little bit further, like so. But I don't think that looks that great, to be honest, and he'll definitely be holding them in both his hands. But apart from that, pretty much everything else is as you would expect from the previous figures. So from a paint application perspective, the sort of changes in shading of the sort of bronze sort of tinge that you see there to the darker blue tinge and so on, I mean, all of that's fairly nicely done. The silver is pretty good too, and the blue on the helmet itself is quite nice as well, and you sort of get the metallic sheen on the top of the arms there and so on. So I do have a couple of paint defects. So there's one right in the center there, which is sort of annoying, and depending on the angle, so you sort of can't see it from some angles, and then from underneath. So from various angles it becomes a bit more obvious, particularly under this sort of white fluorescent lights that I've got, but on display you can't really notice it too much, so I'll probably let that one slide. But other than that, the paint application isn't too bad. The chest, the rear and the skirt there is all fairly nicely done. I do like the sort of changes in shading of the bronze and the blue there, which give it a nice sort of metallic sheen, which is quite nice. And similarly for the gauntlets there. All the articulation's pretty much the same as the previous figures, so I won't go through all that too much. If you do want to check that out, you can click through and find the reviews for the other two figures The knees there, nice bronzing there, that does look quite nice, and it does sort of reflect the light fairly well as well. But that is pretty much it. I will just set them all up and give you guys a comparison against the other two. Hold on. Alright, so here is the new Jango with the previous Boba Fett's, and I have to say, once you set them up together, they look absolutely fantastic. It's definitely a great way to display them together on the shelf, and that's pretty much the way that I'll have it in the cabinet. I do love the sort of variation in tones, paint application. I was a bit disappointed in the paint application, as I was saying before, but overall, just being able to see the sort of progression in style looks pretty damn awesome. So if you're into this series, I would still recommend getting the Jango Fett, but if you are on a tighter budget, I would probably then stick to some of the more unique molds and definitely pick up the Darth Maul that I reviewed yesterday. Hopefully you like that quick look at the new Jango Fett, and can click that like and subscribe button. I do have some more reviews coming up in the next week or so with the 1/6 scale Han Solo in Carbonite, which I guess is fitting now that I'm talking about bounty hunters. But I've got that one coming, and probably a few more coming the week after that with Marty McFly and so on. So hopefully you can subscribe and stay tuned for all that. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.